If you have watched any of my videos, you probably know that I am currently on a quest to hike all the trails in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and become a member of the 900 Miler Club, which celebrates those who have achieved this goal. On this trip to the Smokies, I decided to focus on the trails on the west side of the 441. The plan was to do an out and back of the north 1.8 mile end of the Thomas Divide Trail, then drive down a few miles and hike the 2.9 miles of the Kanati Fork, then, turning south, head about 3 miles on Thomas Ridge Trail to campsite 52, where I'd spend the night. The next morning, I'd do about half a mile on Newton Bald, stopping to do a quick 2.8 miles and 1,600 feet down the Mingus Creek Trail, then 1,600 feet and 2.8 miles back up before continuing 4.7 miles east on Newton Bald Trail to the 441, where I'd find transportation back to my car. So, for this 2-day, 1-night adventure, it leaves me with a total planned distance of 20 miles and a total elevation gain of almost 7,900 feet. I'll explain the 24.7 mile total distance error at the end of the video. Just after entering the park, I stopped at the Oconaluftee Visitor Center for a brief visit before getting back in the car and heading up to the trailhead. I'm at the Thomas Divide Trailhead, so we've got our typical late start due to a host of surprises. We are going to be heading 1.8 miles down and then 1.8 miles back. So the nice thing is here in the starting 1.8 miles down to where it's going to intersect the Kanati. If I have to do an out and back, which I'm going to have to, no way around it, may as well do the in and out first, drive down to the second so I don't have to repeat myself. And this 1.8 miles does not have any water on it, no water sources. So this way I go in and out, back to the car, tank up again on water, and then I can start on the Kanati with 3.6 miles less of waterless trail. Sadly, I am about a week past the peak for color change here in the Smokies. Last week, I wanted more than anything to come here. Unfortunately, Hurricane Helene messed things up a bit. Last week, which was peak for color, I would have gone, except I was just getting over this respiratory whatever thing. I thought maybe I better recoup just a little bit more. Man, these wet leaves over the slippery roots make you pay attention. Anyway, that's why I didn't get out here any earlier. No matter what you do, you can't beat this kind of scenery. Even in this late fall, early winter season, we still find the occasional splash of green, like this intricately textured intermediate wood fern. We've gone about 1.2 miles, and we finally reached Bee Tree Ridge. And from here, this is going to be the peak that we reach before we start going downhill or undulating level-ish. So it makes a nice change of pace. We now get to look at something other than uphill. And it's just one big sea of clouds past the trees at the moment. But that should be changing soon. So now we get to look forward to a little bit of almost levelish, which is nice after you've been climbing. We are almost to Turkey Fly Up. As we round the corner here, this little ridge, I guess it's a no-name ridge, but we're about 500 feet from Turkey Fly Up. So we're about maybe 600 feet or so from meeting the Katani. We have finally reached the intersection with the Kanati Trail. Right up here on the saddle, up on the ridge in a saddle, which is one of the coolest locations. Sure enough, here is the sign we've been looking for. Kanati Fork Trail that way, 2.9 miles. And here it shows you we are still on the Thomas Divide. That's going to go to the right 3.3 miles on down to Newton Bald, which we will do that 3.3 miles. But first, we've got to go the 1.8 all the way back up to Newfound Gap Road so we can drive down to the Katani and come up that trail. I think while I'm here, I am going to enjoy the scenery for just a few minutes before I head back up. In fact, I have with me my amateur radio 2-meter 440 radio. I'm going to see if I can get Mount Mitchell repeater, maybe catch my dad on the radio. Took about maybe 8-10 minutes there at the intersection, so now I'm heading back on up towards the 441 to get to my car. But while I was there, I did try my 2-meter radio. I was able to get into the Mount Mitchell repeater. Very cool. Here I am on the Thomas Divide Trail in the Smokies, and I'm talking to someone down in Charlotte. Awesome, gotta love it. What that means is my dad, he's over at the church right now, so I left him a message that I'm gonna be at that spot again in 2 to 3 hours, and that I'll try him again. So hopefully we'll get to talk with him. All right, time for me to act like a horse and hoof it. Well, we are back where we started. As you can see, we are at the Thomas Divide Trail sign that we started at. So, 3.6 miles out of the way, and time for me to head on down to the Kanati Trailhead. Took time for lunch, ate the burrito that I had, and now we are ready to start the Kanati Fork Trail. In 2.9 miles, we will be where I was about an hour and a half ago. Oh well, you can't hike all the trails without doing a little bit of backtracking. There's an interesting tree. I'm back to where I started, or back to where I was anyway. See if this looks familiar. Look at that, Kanati. 3 miles. Okay, make that 5 miles, including what I did earlier. But we are back to that Thomas Divide, and we have, let's see, about 3.3 miles-ish to go. So I'm going to take a quick rest, and then we're going to do it. WD4ENU, this is KB4BZT.
KB4BZT from WD4ENU.
Yeah, this little handheld isn't all that much way in the middle of the Smokies.
So how you doing?
Oh, not too bad. I'm right here at the Kanati Trail and Thomas Divide, right where they intersect. So kind of tired, but I'm here and just wanted to reach out and say hi before I went trekking on down to my campsite.
Well, very fine. I'm glad we made the connection just now. So I'll catch you later then. Glad we could do it. KB4BZT from WD4ENU.
Good to talk with you, Daddy. KB4BZT clear. So, kind of nice to reach out and talk to people, whether you have cell signal or not. One of the beautiful things about amateur radio. Well, we've just passed Nettle Creek Bald on the Thomas Divide Trail here. And we got about 2 miles-ish, give or take, to the campsite. I think we've got almost 2 hours. So we should be getting in right about sundown, maybe 15 minutes of night hike. I don't know. We'll see. But most importantly, we're heading downhill after that 3 grueling miles of uphill on the Kanati, and up till now, uphill on Thomas Divide. It's so nice to have some downhill. So I will enjoy this. It's also where the trekking poles, another place where they come in handy. You can kind of cruise without having to put so much effort with your legs to keep from going too fast.
I couldn't help but admire the graceful lines of an old fallen tree slowly being engulfed by a rich carpet of green moss.
Well, we're about just under half a mile from the campsite, so probably should get there with a little bit of light. But look at these mountains. You can see through the trees the silhouette of that mountain that we're just coming up to and tapering down. And now the shadow's growing ever deeper. Ah, it's pretty. Very cool. Any case, all kinds of neat stuff here today. Meanwhile, on with the trail. I love it when I see one of these. Yes. Thomas Divide. Newton Bald Trail is 0.4 miles. So all we gotta do is go down to that, and we're gonna hit the campsite 52. Meanwhile, this is, yep, Sunkota Ridge. Yeah. Martin's Gap, all that, yeah. If you go and watch, I think it was the second video I ever posted, you'll see my daughter and I on that backpacking trip from Deep Creek, coming up, swerving over onto Sunkota Ridge, hitting Martin's Gap, coming over and coming back down. So that is a nostalgic, very much a favorite of mine, mostly because of who was with me. So we will continue on our short distance here and hit the campsite. I think we hit the campsite before we hit the trail. We'll see. Sign of things to come, which is literally a sign of the things to come. In this case, it's letting me know that, 0.2 miles. Will get me
to my campsite 52. And if we were to change direction, so we've come a fair distance. So now we're splitting off onto the Newton Bald Trail. Okay, so it's 0.2 after, not 0.2 before. Oh well, wishful thinking. We barely rounded the corner. We came to this really pretty, almost looks like a campsite. Hey, we've not even been a tenth of a mile. Yep, there's the campsite. This is the campsite. Now it's going to give you an awfully cool sunset view. Yeah, you see a nice flattened out area with logs around it and a post. Even if you can't see the post, you can know what it's going to say when you get there. It says 52. The left side of the 5 is gone. Oh, look at that. And supposedly there is water down here, it's saying. If you go down that valley a tenth or so of a mile. So I've got about half a liter bottle plus third or quarter of another half-liter bottle, so it'll be enough for tonight. So now I just have to look around for some places to put it. Oh, by the way, here, of course, as with all the backcountry sites in the Smokies, you can see that disc right up there and the wires hanging down from it. They just bolt down here to the tree and go on up to the line there. You haul up your pack at night. Some people just put their food bag, but frankly, I take only the items from my backpack that I know are not scented and that haven't been in contact with things that are scented. Everything else goes up on there. I have too much faith in the bear's nose to trust he won't catch rub-off scent or something like that. So, let's see. Probably set it up somewhere in here. All right, we'll be back with you in a moment.
I picked up this backpacking pillow from Thermarest. I've been using rolled up clothing, but this pillow is much more comfortable and actually allows me to get some pretty decent sleep.
Well, it's about 6. Actually had a really pretty good night's sleep. You can see here where I have my hammock set up. Didn't bother with the rain fly because it was like single-digit % chance of rain. But wow, the fog comes in the morning, and you can see it's like looking into an opaque wall. You can just see it just becomes solid fog. All right,
So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to head on down here to see if they have any water. Okay, yep. Let's see what we get down this way. You know what? I'll put that off till it's daylight so I can get a better look at which terrain, which way I want to get around stuff. I'll just use the water I've got. Excuse me. But I'm going to get food. I thought about mixing up some oatmeal, heating up the water and all that. I realized just something like a little veggie patty sandwich and some tomatoes, they don't really weigh all that much more than the packets of oatmeal. And they're so much quicker and so much less hassle to do. And they don't have to use extra water. And after I finish eating, I think we'll just pack up and just get going. Well, I changed my mind and figured, what if the stream down the trail a little ways isn't as good as we thought? Better try this one first than to pass it up. And so, sure enough, I am working on filling this up. However, this is about a quarter mile down, and it's now down to, you can hear trickling under the rocks. And I dug away this one spot. This is where I'm filling it up. It takes about 10 to 12 minutes or more to fill up a single half liter. So technically a water source, but boy is it stretching to meet the definition. And man, it takes a while to fill that up. So I think it's time for us to get on with the trail. It's just after 7:30. Off we go. One of these days I'm going to have to come into camp with enough energy left to have a fire. Into the misty depths. These club mosses, you can even see the reproductive structures on them. Very pretty. Well, here I am talking about something wonderful that's upcoming. Ha. 4.7 to the Newfound Gap Road. Would twere that I could take that right now, but I can't. What I'm going to be doing, and I'll pop up the graph or the map real quick, is I'm going to be taking the Mingus Creek Trail down to where it meets
The Deeplow Gap Trail, which involves 2.6 miles and 1,480 feet down, and then 2.6 miles and 1,480 feet right back up the way I came from.
I'm going to have to do that at some point. I'm going to have to do it and out and back. May as well do it now and get it done with. Doesn't that sound like the words of a person who's eager to go down 3 miles and then back up? And I do mean up 3 miles. I need to practice my acting a little better. No, it's still beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Into the rhododendron tunnel. Truly a hallmark of the Smokies. I still haven't done as much recording on the way down as I'd like. But man, with 3-ish miles, I want to get that done because I know the uphill is going to be a bear. And it's all uphill on the way back. Like 1,000 plus elevation gain. And I don't want that done. So I'm going to hurry up and get to the trail cross section, and that's why I haven't filmed much. But the good news is that we are here. Yep. Deeplow Trail. If you go that way far enough, you'll hit the Thomas Divide again. And over here, that is the Mingus Creek Trail leading back down to Mingus Creek, Mingus Mill, and the 441. This one is Mingus Creek Trail, where it turns up and heads up to meet Newton Bald. And that's the killer that I'm going to have to do here in just a little bit. So I'm going to take a rest, recharge a little bit before I hit the ladder.
While there isn't as much to see in winter, I did see what looked like an old turkey tail or false turkey tail fungi. It has a cool color pattern.
From the intersection with Mingus Creek and Deeplow Gap down there, we have come about 1.6 miles up, about 1.2 miles to go. It's the first time I've actually taken a stop on the way up, which is better than I thought. But if you're going to take a stop, why not at a nice little saddle where you can look off into the distance through the trees? I have to be somewhat careful because 10,000 milliamp battery I bought with me, it's down to about 1/4 of its charging level, and battery usage needs to be judicious. Well, we're about 4/10 of a mile from the intersection with Newton Bald. Just about finished with that 14 to 1500 foot elevation gain, and I will be happy to be finished with it. Almost 11:50. Took about a 15-minute rest here. I just sat down and relaxed finally, and had some water, one of the power gels. So I think I'm set and ready to conquer the last little bit. So let's grab the poles here. There we go. And off we go. Well, it's about 12:15. So I guess after that 15-minute break we took, it was about another 10 minutes. Sure enough, this is where I came to that sign. You will recall. For you guys, it'll just be a few minutes ago. For me, just a tiny, brief eternity. All right, so we have 4.7. Mostly downhill, thank goodness. So we will get to it. Since we're over, I think we're over 5,000 feet here. You can see some of the trees. Doesn't it make a beautiful little walkway at 5,000 plus feet. About 1.5 miles, 1.75 miles from reaching the 441. And you're just now beginning to see some of the valley that we're coming down into. I can't believe I went through my water so fast. Finished 3 half-liter bottles and I was on my 4th. But fortunately, I'm down low enough where we're starting to get some streams crossing the way. That made a very convenient way to fill up my bottles and add a little color. Well, if the camera's on me, odds are we're coming up to another junction. And boy, have I been looking forward to this one. Wow. 0.3 to the road, to the trailhead. That's what I like. All right, that's the sign. This is the ball that came down. I think this is the horse trail. I have a feeling it's about to be confirmed, my suspicion. Hello, doing pretty well, thank you. You gonna camp out there? Oh, it just came down from 52. So I, of course, am going to continue on and point to the road. You can probably hear the road noise, which normally I'm not that great of a fan of road noise, especially when I'm hiking. Right now, I kind of like it because it means the hike is over. And I am approaching the trailhead. So, I am going to be optimistic that this is the end, that someone will give me a ride. Turns out there was not grounds for optimism after all. But I got to walk the entire 4-5 miles, whatever it is, all the way back up to my car. And did I mention, only a fraction of that is on the road. Most of the time it's about 4 feet off the road into this jumble of ditches and sticks and leaves. So I got to get some more hiking in after all. Thank you so much for coming along with me, allowing me to share yet another adventure with you in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. If you know someone who loves hiking or backpacking and you want to share this, please, that would be fantastic. Of course, if you could like, subscribe, all that stuff the YouTubers tell you, that would be great as well. Meanwhile, this is Graybeard for the Sylvan Reflections channel. See you in the next one.
If you like this video, please consider clicking the like, subscribe, and notification bell.
It's going to be a beautiful sunset tonight.